Don't aim it towards me, I'm a mouth breather.
I like how these. Do you do the hair around the behind?
Are we filming?
Leave it in.
Yes.
Yes, I think there's a
This was supposed to be a profession where you didn't have to wear pants if you wanted to, and now we're all.
Oh, can we take our pants off then?
Do I look all right?
Do I look all right?
Can you smell my breath?
Ew, that's a gross spot, 'cause
Absolutely.
this is very foamy.
That's a lot of.
There
It
could
looks
have
like
some
years of makeup stuff
spittle.
on it too.
Somebody's
Now, I
been
can
very
hear
close.
her. I don't hear myself. Is that
I don't hear you
okay?
either.
Okay.
I hear nothing.
No.
Something when I
I
pulled
don't
on
hear
this
myself.
earlier, it.
I hear Tammy, but I don't hear.
I
There we
don't.
go.
Hey,
Oh.
there I am.
Hey,
Wow.
I hear you. I don't hear
Now
you.
my narcissism is
And I don't participate.
Give
fully
me a
satisfied. I
microphone.
must hear my own voice. We could do the NPR. Welcome back to Tammy, the Naked Doctor. My name is Willow.
I don't listen to
We're going to take a moment to clear our chakras and we'll be right back.
You're listening to
It's
KUA.
not a euphemism. I'm
I'm
gonna
not
go clear
sure.
my chakra. I'll
I'm
be
not
right
sure I
back.
hear myself. Do I hear myself? Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
Okay.
yes.
Then I can hear myself.
Well, that's good.
I've talked myself into being able to hear myself. I hear myself.
Is that me talking?
I think I hear some dead people in there. Too. Is that normal?
I just try to filter that out. There's a button there that filters out the voices from beyond. It's number
Good.
666.
Oh, okay, I'm not sure this is going to happen without.
I think laughing is cleansing and it's good and
my
it's
ribs are always starting to hurt.
my ribs are already hurting. That's a bad sign. That is a bad sign. I remember we were eating at Emilio's one time and we were laughing so hard. So we were in Eureka Springs at some point and you were laughing so hard that you were holding your side going, stop, I'm not going to be able to eat dinner.
It was probably after just my boob job or something.
Probably.
I don't laugh.
It's a great diet. Just spread all food out and you laugh till you can't eat and then you're good. This does look like a poker table.
It is a poker table.
It really is a poker table.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a nice glass top that went to it, but
But some
dropped
stuff
it.
happened. And then some
But
stuff
That would
happens.
bounce. The audio would bounce really hard on that. We had to pull the glass top off of the studio that we built because the audio,
Mhm.
the sound would just bounce off the thing horribly.
Bouncing sound.
Are we ready to roll?
Yes. Are you ready? Are you ready? You sure?
You're speaking first, correct? Okay. Don't look at me and expect me to do something because I'll just be
Just do
like,
something.
It was 2 minutes of
Hey everybody, welcome to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy and I have Cryssie, my co-host, here in the studio today.
Hello.
Hello, Cryssie.
Nice to see you.
Well, they can't see us, but you can
No,
see
but it's
me.
nice to see you. It's
Yeah.
always fun when we get together and have a conversation. I always enjoy it.
Absolutely, but for those who could see us, we do have clothes on. This
Yes,
is The
we do.
Naked Doctor, but we do have clothes on.
Yes.
so
Now,
that's
why
good.
did you choose the name The Naked Doctor?
Well, I think it's interesting that there's so much in healthcare. We're so conditioned to going to the doctor and getting just this, excuse me, crap information. And my disclaimer is don't stop taking any medications and don't
Of
fire your
course.
doctor today.
Of course.
But there's just so much myth information from the pharmaceutical companies and from the insurance companies, and they all just make us think that we're getting so much for our money and that we're safe, and we're really not. So part of The Naked Doctor is revealing the naked truth about what's really real and what's not in the world according to Dr. Tammy, anyway.
Absolutely.
And so, everybody's got their opinions, and mine's just one. But being a traditional board-certified family physician, I've seen a lot. One of the first experiences I had when I was in med school and residency was getting overwhelmed with so much information. And I remember my mentors, my professors saying, Tammy, don't worry about it. Just memorize 10 or 15 drugs, medications, and that's all you'll have to know. You'll make a good living. And I just thought, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. And then my next experience was the pharmaceutical companies literally were buying doctors. You know, they were Rolex watches, golf cruises. It was just ridiculous, the excess, and they can't do that anymore. There's regulations on that. They can't, you know, buy them trips anymore and things like that. But now they just have redirected their money into marketing. You know, you watch the news on the evening news, and it's 10 million commercials for drugs.
Absolutely. And I've taught my children, I say, now towards the end of this commercial, close your eyes and listen to what they say. And my 11-year-old would say, Mom, it says your toe could fall off or something. It could cause blindness. I say, yes, they'll show you the beautiful cartoon of the butterfly flying around you as you sleep, but then the voice with the disclaimer underneath is, oh, it's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely terrible.
Liver failure, death.
Yes, blindness.
And people rush to their
paralysis.
doctor the next day because we're really not taught how to really take care of ourselves. We know more about our cars. We can pull a book out of our glove box and know more about the way our car works than the way we work. And
Right.
we really just don't take personal responsibility. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what I have tried to do with my patients. Being a functional medicine doctor exclusively now, I don't use pharmaceuticals except for prescription hormones, bioidentical hormones, but really empowering people to take personal responsibility. And not everybody has to have a medical degree, but gosh darn it, if you're going to put something in your body, you need to know what it is.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
It's just that simple. And having a roadmap, I really empower people to get the lab testing done and, you know, to just call BS on your doctor when you're, you know, not getting the answers that you're looking for. And sometimes you just have to get outside the box. And we are really moving. I think we've come full circle. People are starting to realize how limited the medical establishment is out there. And again, I'm not knocking doctors. I was one of them that used to prescribe 15 medications with 15 for the side effects. But I think we're coming full circle, realizing that that's just, you know, it's crap now. And so we've got to do something different.
Well, you're a real human being. You're a mother. You've had life experience up to this point, and you can see things more through the eyes of the consumer end of that. And I think that's very commendable that you can say those things and help those of us that are looking to be more proactive about our health. I think I look back at the generations before us, my grandmother, for instance. There was a certain time of life where they believed this is when you get old, and this is when you wind down, and this is when you die. And they stopped being active. And we have learned that if you don't use it, you lose it. You use your brain, you use your body, you move yourself through those later years of your life, and you can extend that life and you can make it a much more higher quality of life. Now, I myself had some autoimmune problems. I had a lot of pain, and I had several doctors just look me in the eye and say, we're never going to find out what's causing all of this. So I looked towards alternative healing methods for myself. I'm an educated person. I have a Master's of Science in Leadership and Ethics from John Brown University, and I thought, I'm a smart girl, I can do this. And I started to read books, and I started to look into meditation, and I had some fantastic spiritual experiences, and it put me on a path to understanding that we are more than just the body that is sitting here, and that we can connect to each other, we can help each other, we're all in this together. And I look to someone like you who's taking that a step further and saying, I come from the medical community, and I am also understanding that we have to take care of ourselves, take the initiative ourselves. It's better to repair the bridge than to just work to pull bodies out of the river. You know, let's see what's causing the problem, let's get out ahead of it and take that responsibility on ourselves. So I really appreciate that, Dr. Tammy. I think what you're doing is great, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Oh, me too. And you know, I've had my own issues too. I've had just about every female problem that you can name hormonally. I've had a hysterectomy, and so I do believe that there is better living through chemistry, but it's through natural chemistry and understanding how your body works. There are so many things that we can do. That I have so many patients who come in and say that same thing. I've been told I'm just getting older, and they're just they
this
just have
is just
to
how you're
accept
going to
that.
have to.
So you know,
I don't think there's one patch that fits everyone.
Oh,
I don't think there's
not.
just one pill that's going to fix it. That would be great. That would be fantastic. I've lost some weight recently. I've lost about 40 pounds, and I'll have people come up to me and say, "You look great. What are you doing?" And what they want to hear is that, well, I found this pill and I lost this weight. And it was
Phentermine.
effortless. I lose weight while I sleep. I wear these special pants. I don't know. And instead I say, well, I cut out wheat and sugar. And you can just see their face immediately go, yeah, I'm never going to do that. But I made changes slowly over time. And I stopped listening to the information that you're constantly fed from the, I don't want to say the media, but marketing is engineered to create a need, to create a want, so that that dollar will go out of your pocket and into their hand. So I was watching some videos on YouTube and the same ad kept popping up. And the first 4 words of the ad were, "It's so hard being a mom these days." And I would hit skip. And then 5 minutes later, "It's so hard to be a mom these days." And about the 5th time, I thought, woman, stop telling me how hard it is to be a mom these days. And I made a personal choice to start cooking a real breakfast for my family every morning. That means I heat up a pan, I scramble some eggs, I fry some bacon, okay? And no, it's not grass-fed bacon, but get off my back about that. Anyway.
It's a grass-fed.
And I had several people at work as I opened up my little container with my freshly scrambled eggs and bacon, and they said, "Where did you get that? Did you stop at Cracker Barrel?" And I said, "No, I made myself breakfast." "You mean today?" And I said, "Yes, I'm making my family breakfast." "Well, how do you find the time?" "I can't find," and it was insulting to them that
Would it take like 10 minutes?
I said, first of all, stop telling yourself that it's hard. Stop listening to people that tell you it's hard. If you wake up and the first thought through your mind is, "I did not get enough sleep, this is going to be hard," that's the way your day's going to go. I carved out that time, and now that's just part of my routine, is that I get up and make breakfast for my family every morning. I stopped telling myself it was hard. They're not stomach rumbling by 10 o'clock. They're not full of a wad of sugary paste when I send them off
Lucky
to school.
Charms
Right,
and
no.
Twix, yeah.
They do very well. I've made a point, and the rest of my family knows, we are not allowed to talk about how hard life is. We look at things in a positive way, and I think it's made a huge difference. Small changes. I've made small changes over time, and I've seen the results of that. So
Yeah, it's so important. We all make excuses, and it's so much easier. And it's, again, about taking personal responsibility. Sometimes you just have to take some
Yeah.
personal responsibility and
Absolutely.
start saying, but, you know, I don't know what people's spiritual beliefs are, but, you know, if you believe biblically, the Bible was created out of the spoken word, you know, and so it's like, it's funny, one night I was going to Florida, and I had missed my first flight, and I called my husband, and I'm like, I missed my first flight. You know, there were plenty other flights, and, you know, it was not the end of the world, but I'm like, I'm probably going to get there at 2 in the morning. Literally, it was 2 o'clock in the morning when I rolled into my hotel room.
Look what
and
I just created,
you know,
for myself.
I just created that, you know,
Everything that we
intention.
see was once thought. Every idea, every building, every piece of paper that you've written
Absolutely.
on, those physical things were once an idea. So how is that any different from what we speak? We're literally creating the way that we see the world. We each have our own unique view. We create that universe, and there are so many different schools of thought that believe that whatever you think and what you say becomes your reality. I don't think that has to conflict with anybody's spiritual beliefs to understand that when you speak to yourself in a kind way, when you show love to yourself, and I'm not saying be unrealistic, but I'm saying if you can skew it towards the positive. Give yourself a
Exactly.
break. Make your road a little bit easier.
I love Dr. Emoto's water experiment. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
YouTube that, Dr.
Yes.
Emoto's water experiment. It's basically they speak kind words to water molecules, look at it under an electron microscope, and they look completely different than speaking unkind or hateful words. And it's our bodies are 70% water, so you speak to yourself. Your self-talk is so important. And, you know, it's interesting with medicine. I've come full gamut from prescribing all those medications to patients to looking at things like leaky gut and hormones, which I think are all very important in the day-to-day. But the spiritual, the emotional connection, the self-talk, the giving up the excuses, the making the little changes, that's 80% or more. And it's like people have such a hard time really getting that they have to start changing that self-talk, stop it making excuses, and empower themselves, because everything else falls into place when you do that.
Right. to me, it's been a big shift from a mind-centered consciousness to a heart-centered consciousness. And our brain is set up to categorize and to compare and to judge. And we have a tendency to do that with ourselves. Those of us that have body image issues, it's difficult to walk through a crowd without going, oh, look how small she is. I wish I was that small. Oh gosh, my pants don't fit like that. I don't know.
We judge ourselves constantly.
Constantly, and we're afraid of how we're going to look to the neighbors, to our coworkers, to other moms. Am I being a good enough mom? Am I sending my kids to school with the right hair bow today? And you just have to understand that this is your life. Nobody has to answer for this except you. You're the only one putting judgments on yourself. You're the only one making those comparisons. Be a little easier on yourself.
Yeah,
that's
just
really
lighten
all
up.
it is.
Maybe even
Lighten
just
up.
laugh a little.
Are your kids wearing clothes? Yes, that's a plus. They
That's a
didn't go to
plus.
school naked and they have a full belly. I'm happy. This is
We have a great show today too, and they're kind of saying we need to go to break
okay,
here. But
so we don't get to just chat
we
for
don't,
an
yeah,
hour.
just ramble. We
all
love
right.
rambling.
Oh, it is a lot of fun.
Our guest today is Jim Stipe. He is the date doctor. He's out of Little Rock, Arkansas. He's been doing this, I think he's since 1989. I'm very excited to have him on today. And in light of some of the new stuff that's in the media with Ashley Madison stuff,
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot going on. So we're going to pick his brain a little bit about that. But we were just talking about self-talk and healing yourself really from the inside out, emotionally, spiritually. And I think he's going to speak to that a little bit because he is the dating doctor. He says that you have to be whole before you can be whole for someone else, whole together.
If you're not happy with yourself, you can't expect someone else to make you happy.
You can,
right?
and nobody can fulfill all those aspects that we
No.
expect them to. So we're going to take a little break. We're the Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy, and this is Cryssie, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with the Date Doctor.
Yay! I think that's going well.
Good, I love
Okay,
it.
I'm not talking on top of you. I hope
No,
okay.
that's great. Is it good?
He's like, I don't know, I'm watching Netflix.
I'm recording.
Oh, I see.
It even says the Naked Doctor on the little tape. How cute is that?
That's cute.
So where's Miss Dr. Stipe, Mr. Stipe, Michael Stipe?
Jim. Jim. Stipe.
Jim.
You gonna
Not
call him up
Michael
for us then,
Stipe.
Matt?
Yes.
All right.
Who's in my religion? Call it, man. I'm wondering if the lead-in, I was listening to that real close, that was, it almost seemed like a non sequitur going into the dating doctor from the lifestyle.
So we needed to be more on topic of dating for that one?
Uh,
Well, I think she did tie it in well because she was
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
being cool with yourself.
Yeah.
So that was nice. You did a good job on that one.
Yeah,
Crocheted it right in.
Crochet it right here.
it'll be fun.
Yep, I think it'll be good.
Make it work.
I was enjoying it. It wasn't boring.
It wasn't tedious.
Mhm.
Plus you were just kind of introducing him before he came on.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Let me just say this real quick and then we'll be ready to, I'll call him up.
Don't make fun of his hat. Don't make fun of his hat.
Are you wearing your hat?
Are you wearing your hat right now?
What I'm doing is I'm trying to hear the music underneath you, and I'm gonna use the lime and the coconut as your intro. That's the theme song to the whole show.
Absolutely. And then we should start just drinking cocktails halfway through the show and let the audience know that alcohol has started, and then it gets crazy. But that's a different show. We'll do a different
You're
show.
welcome
for that
to
one.
you're welcome to experiment with any of that stuff.
We're getting a resveratrol.
Resveratrol?
It's the ingredient in wine that's like
Oh.
increases
Resveratrol?
telomere length.
Oh, hey.
Hey, I'm gonna live forever.
You gotta drink a lot of this
Better.
stuff to get
Today
in.
we're licking African toads, just to see what happens.
See what happens.
Does anybody else see the dragon in the corner, or is that just me? I dropped my fingers and
There
I
are
can't
some
pick them
who
up.
believe that all of those things are present all the time, but
No,
we have
absolutely.
these filters,
And then the
so we don't.
filters
And the
moved.
filters move,
And
and,
the-
you
the
see the
Care Bears are
purple
like,
drag-
"Hey,
Care Bears.
what's up?" Oh, crap. They keep asking me questions. No, I think that's totally a possibility. I think what we see as our reality is so limited that at some point we're going to laugh at ourselves. Have you seen that movie
Hey
Interstellar?
Jim, this is Matt. I'm the producer here.
Oh my
and
God.
the doctor. Ready to go, sir? All right, I'm gonna put you on hold for a second. I'm gonna get you lined up on the board here. Hang on, okay? So you're looking out of curiosity?
Mhm.
You have to answer the phone off the white phone, or call out on the white phone, there'd be a 9 first. And then that's the one that lights up. This is really old. I was told it was obsolete.
I want to mention this at some point. My mother
So
and my
this is what we have to use
stepdad
now.
met
They used it safe TV.
in the
Really? They used it.
late 80s through a
Oh,
pen pal
so
dating
you-
service.
Oh,
No
good.
lie.
That's funny.
So imagine you couldn't just text someone, you had to write them a letter and then wait for that letter to come back.
So,
Go, I don't know, maybe I don't want to date you.
These buttons have to be up.
Okay.
This is live on the air, this is recorded.
Okay.
Okay, so we're recording, here's the phone.
And you set your level to where it sounds good to you.
Well,
and immediately
the
not
best you
change.
can, they're kind of like this, so it's
Okay.
gonna be like, look at this. And it's all over the place. You can maybe.
I want to get
I'll
some
clean those
pictures
slides
and
up.
stuff for you to put
Right.
on
So,
the website and
Oh, okay.
But that's what, you know, we're not too worried about
NakedDoctorShow.com,
that.
Dr.
bio
Tammy.
stuff so they can kind of learn a little more about us. You might
Right.
think
Oh, no,
this week
absolutely.
about writing up a little
Okay, so
bio who you
Yeah.
are.
I wanna put,
That'd be
hit
super
air.
cool.
So at the end, I'm gonna tell them
gonna
how
come
they
back
can.
and say hello.
Hey, Jim, you there? Hey, I have a co-host. Her name is Cryssie, so we're just going to kind of jump right in. I'm just going to kind of let you introduce yourself mostly, but I'll do a little intro here real quick.
Nice to meet you.
Waiting for you to go ahead. Okay, all right. Hi, welcome back to The Naked Doctor. This is Dr. Tammy and Cryssie. And
Hello.
we're here with Jim Stipe, the dating doctor.
Dating doctor,
We're very excited
okay.
to have him. And just a minute ago, we were talking about being emotionally well and spiritually well and trying to be the best you that you can be, self-talk.
Mhm.
And so this is a great topic. There's some stuff in the news lately about the whole Ashley Madison and dating websites and things. And I think it was, you know, funny. Chrissy's got a funny little story about how some of her relatives met. But welcome, Jim. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get started in doing what you do? Speed dating.
Goodness.
Love it. I love that. It's so important to be whole, and I think so many people go into marriage thinking that, well, for one thing, I think that people think that it's going to fix a broken relationship. So you're messed up and you're like having struggles, and let's just get married and that should fix it.
Let's just compound it by being together 24 hours a day.
Or having kids, you know, let's repair the
absolutely.
relationship by having kids. And people just really don't focus on themselves to be healed and well. So I love that you're putting that message out there. Now, how did you kind of come to that awareness? Because when you first started out, you were probably like all of us, young, and you know, this kind of concept really comes with maturity and time. At what point were you matchmaking and realized that you really had to look at a deeper level and kind of groom and cultivate these people before they were ready to be in relationship?
I do like that. There's so many of us that had, a lot of us were in a family that was a dysfunctional relationship, and that's what we grew up around. We grew up around some adults that weren't always respectful to each other, and for those of us that didn't ever really see what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like, I think it's difficult when they get into a relationship, it isn't going the way they think, and somewhere in the back of your mind it's like, well, this is just the way it is. Being a couple is difficult. It's a fight. It's an uphill struggle, and I personally now understand that it does not have to be that way, but that's a learned experience.
Mm-hmm. So Jim, if someone, let's say, was wanting to like kind of repair themselves or get out there, starting to question, I've been dating and going on all these websites, and I'm just getting these losers, and what's wrong? Where do you start with someone? Is there like an interview process? Do you kind of go back through that a little bit, or what does that look like when you coach or work with somebody? Don't use a 20-year-old picture that way when you were thin. That's false advertising. I heard once the biggest sex organ in the female is the brain. You get in her head, you make her love you, you make her
feel good about herself. Absolutely.
You got it, and it doesn't take that long, but you go straight for the other sex organs first, and it's like you've lost it. You're on probation.
Yes, absolutely. You don't get the benefits until you've been there 90 days.
That's right.
That's true. There you go.
think it's a good time to bring that topic up, because clearly when you first start dating someone, you don't know, what's okay to discuss and what's not. I guess it's all intuition and just discernment to when you have that conversation. But is that something you recommend in your coaching, that right out of the gate they have that conversation that I want to get to know you first, and this is where I'm at? Or is that just kind of you wait till they kind of start to attack you after a few drinks and you're like
That would call out the herd quick.
Yeah.
I would expect.
Yeah, if they're just looking for a good time, that's going to be pretty quick.
Well, there's other outlets for that. There are websites, I'm sure, that are more of the
Ashley
yes,
Madison,
really,
clearly.
yeah, absolutely. But if you're looking for long-term love, I think 90 days would be a
I heard a lady talking not too long ago on a podcast about the new shame. And the new shame is, the old shame used to be if you left your marriage. The new shame is to stay in a marriage that's not serving you, or, that you call your girlfriend up and you say he's beating me, or, emotionally abusing me. The new shame is to actually stay in that. So I think that's an interesting twist that we've had. Yeah, and to me that probably goes back to having not a good self-image, to being in that place where if you're easily swayed and pulled back in, and especially if he comes back after an abusive type situation and starts really pushing those buttons and making you feel better. I was just watching the Ike and Tina Turner movie this weekend, and it was just interesting how he was able just to come back in and push those buttons again. And so I think really developing I think that's so important, and I think about that in terms of forgiveness and how judgmental we are, and all this stuff with like the subway thing with Jared.
Right.
And I think that's terrible that he did those things, but then I have to think the bigger picture is who, what, where, when was done to him that made him able to do that to the people that he abused. And so, yeah, it's terrible, and I'm not condoning that in any way, but to me, you have to look at the bigger picture from healing standpoint and think, well, where did that abuse first start? And it goes back generations sometimes, but Hey, they're saying it's time for a little break, Jim. Do you have just a few more minutes to spend with us? We're going to go to break and come back. And I want to hear Crissie's funny story about Pen Pal.
Yes.
Pen Pal dating site. So anyway, so hang tight just a minute, everybody. This is Naked Doctor, Dr. Tammy, here with Cryssie and Jim, the date doctor, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Here, just let me save it real quick.
Okay. Hey, Jimmy's just saving that. We'll come right back in, okay? How's it going? Is this going where you wanted to go? Anything else you want to discuss? Okay, good.
A lot of people like to keep the dating stuff like, what should